Okay, let's dive into this. Today, we're unpacking a set of source documents that honestly read a lot less like standard technical documentation and way more like the plot of a high-stakes cyber thriller. We are looking at a raw, unfiltered timeline of events and a massive, highly sensitive code base leak. The players, one of the biggest tech companies on the entire planet, a disgruntled security researcher who goes by the name Nightmare Eclipse, and some seriously deep vulnerabilities buried right inside Windows Defender. In this explainer, we're going to look directly at the source material to figure out exactly what happened, what actually leaked, and what is currently at stake for, well, pretty much anyone using Windows. And we're starting literally right at the edge of a cliff. In a verifiable, PGP-signed post dated April 25th, the researcher stated, "The dead man switch was active before this even started. If you try me, everyone else will pay for it." The reality here is absolutely chilling, because this isn't just some theoretical warning. According to the researcher's own posts, we're looking at an already deployed dead man switch. It's a retaliation mechanism that's just sitting there, waiting to be triggered. Section 1, the dead man switch, understanding the immediate threat. Now, to really grasp the gravity of this whole dispute, you need to understand exactly what this researcher is holding over the security community's head. It's an RCE, remote code execution. If you're a malicious actor, an RCE is basically the holy grail. It's a severe vulnerability that lets an attacker remotely run their own malicious code right on your target system. They're essentially taking it over completely from afar. And the terrifying part of this threat, the researcher claims to have fully unpatched RCEs just queued up and ready to drop if their demands aren't met and that dead man switch flips.
Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 2, Timeline of a Vendetta, from bug hunter to rogue actor.
So how on earth did we get to the point of active dead man switches? Well, the source blog gives us this really raw, filter-free timeline of the escalating tension. On day 1, which was March 26th, the first post appears. The researcher claims a prior agreement was violated, says they've been left homeless, and explicitly states Microsoft stabbed me in the back. Fast forward just over a week to April 2nd, and we get the BlueHammer drop, which deliberately targets MSRC leadership by name. By April 15th, things escalate again with the Red Sun drop, bringing direct threats to release those RCEs we just talked about. And finally, on April 25th, the dead man switch is declared active. Throughout this entire 31-day escalation, every single post is PGP signed. That's crucial because it verifies we're dealing with a single actor who is steadily, purposefully escalating their threats. To give you a sense of the mindset here, during the April 15th Red Sun drop, the researcher stated, "They mopped the floor with me. I was told personally by them that they will ruin my life, and they did." Now, we aren't here to validate whether these claims are true or false, but it undeniably shows the raw, deeply personal emotion driving this vendetta. This doesn't look like your typical, financially motivated extortion attempt. The source text paints a very clear picture of someone who feels incredibly personally wronged and is out for systemic revenge. Section 3, the target, Microsoft Security, unmasking the source code. Alongside these escalating threats, the researcher actually provided proof of their access. They dropped a packed representation of a repository ironically named Funny App. This repository is huge. It's a massive leaked codebase containing the inner workings of Windows Defender. It serves as hard, verifiable proof of some incredibly deep, completely unauthorized access into the core systems that are supposed to protect billions of Windows machines worldwide. But the real crown jewel of this leaked Funny App repository is a specific file named windefend.idl. Let me explain why this is such a big deal. An IDL, or Interface Definition Language file, acts as a map. It literally defines the internal remote procedure calls, or RPCs, for a program. So think of it like the complete architectural blueprint to the antivirus's brain. It explicitly lists all the internal functions and commands that the different parts of Windows Defender use to talk to each other. Having this file is basically like having the master key schematic to a blank vault.
Now, what's really interesting about this is what we find in Section 4, inside the Funny App arsenal, the keys to the castle. 235. In the single WinDefend IDL file that was analyzed, there are over 230 distinct internal procedures exposed. These are the core internal mechanisms of Windows Defender. So the researcher hasn't just found a random backdoor or two. They have effectively mapped out the entire internal command structure of the software. That scale is just staggering. Just look at the destructive power this leak represents. We have Server MP Disable feature, which strongly implies the capability to just selectively turn off crucial antivirus defenses. There's Server MP RPC Forced Reboot,
a command that can force the host machine to abruptly restart out of nowhere. And then you have server MP on-demand cancel scan, which could maliciously interrupt active system threat scans right while they're running. If a threat actor gets their hands on these, they aren't just bypassing the system. These are tools for total system manipulation. And this brilliantly illustrates that the breach goes far, far beyond basic functions. The researcher has mapped out almost every single defensive subsystem. They found the RPCs for quarantine management, meaning they could potentially take a neutralized threat and restore it right back onto the system. They mapped cloud submission systems, which could allow an attacker to just delete the logs of their own malware. They even mapped signature rollbacks, which could be used to revert the antivirus itself back to an older, vulnerable state. It's the whole shebang.
Section 5. The impending threat. A ticking clock.
Having seen the sheer magnitude of those exposed functions, we really have to bring this back to the real-world danger and the researcher's final warning. It will take you a lot of time to patch what will be published. It's not located at my place. Knowing what we now know about that windefend.idl file, this statement is practically a guarantee. Microsoft is facing a monumental ticking clock challenge to fundamentally secure over 230 internal procedures. And on top of that, the little note that the cache is not located at my place pretty much confirms the decentralized automated nature of this deadman switch. So the absolutely crucial question we have to leave you with today is this. What happens if the Nightmare Eclipse deadman switch actually goes off? We've walked through the raw vendetta, we've verified the insanely deep system access, and we know the switch is allegedly active right now. If those unpatched RCEs hit the public web, it could trigger a frantic global scramble to secure the very software that was built to protect us in the first place. It's a fascinating but completely terrifying look at what happens when deep human grievances collide head-on with core system vulnerabilities. Keep learning and always keep asking questions.